your home and loan girl, CEO and founder of Passion and Purpose Realty Group.
And I'm LaShonda, the luxury home real estate agent, brokered by EP2 Realty, and owner of the Empire Realty Group.
And we are Sisters in Real Estate.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, beautiful people. My name is LaShonda, the realtor.
And I am Nikita Jacobs, your home and loan girl. And we are
Sisters in Real Estate.
Hey, that's
so this is our second official episode of season 1 of Sisters in Real Estate. You guys have seen our very first video episode, which was just basically like an intro to what we will be doing. We have so much in store. We have so many things that we'll be covering. We're super excited to share all of these good things with you guys. We know that you guys rely on us as realtors and as a loan officer to help guide you guys through the home buying process. So not only is this podcast, again, for home buyers and sellers and, alike, it's also for entrepreneurs, small business owners, women, men, everybody.
I think that's the main key that we have to make sure people know, like, this podcast is truly for everybody. Yes, we're specifically want to talk about the home buyer, the market, and all those types of things. But like we talked about before, we're bringing more than just that. We're bringing, again, we're wives, we're mothers, we're business owners. We have all these things that, friends, we're sisters, we're all of that. So I'm with it. I'm excited. We got a lot to unpack today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do want to get started with just kind of sipping on some tea. It's a little cool outside. I'm not really a coffee drinker, so I want to, spill some tea about this real estate market. It's a lot of things that are going on. There's a lot of he say, she say, media, non-professionals giving advice. So we kind of want to be that official, like, this is really what it is, because we're like on the front line, right, Nikita?
We are. Yes, we do this every day. It's what we do
every single day.
I think I even dream sometimes about real estate. Like, it's
absolutely. It's like we breathe, sleep, eat real estate, and it's nonstop. It's how we make our money. It's how we survive. And it's really a passion. And it definitely has to be a passion for you to be in this business, because it's cutthroat. It's not just all the glitz and glamour that they show on all these TV shows and, on social media. Like, you really got to work out here, especially now that the pandemic is kind of simmering down. Like, you have to go out and hustle for your bag.
That's true.
So I'll start out by just giving you guys kind of a little bit of what's currently going on in the market. Right now, I guess we can officially say here in the DFW area, we're no longer in a seller's market. This is what you can call a buyer's market, or a more level playing field type market. I wouldn't say normal, because we still kind of have a few things kind of going on. Like, what's your take on that, Nikita?
Honestly, I won't say that we're in a seller's market. I won't say we're really in a buyer's market. Because again, inventory is still low. When I was looking at the numbers, I think we're at like 2 months maybe of inventory or something to that effect. And usually for a healthy market, you have at least 6 months of inventory, which means if all houses were sold, 6 months of inventory is there, Right. So, my take on it is that we are transitioning and leveling into a healthy market where both people, now it's like you have to work for your client. You know what I mean? Back where sellers, if you were a seller's agent, you could just list the property and boom, you had 100 offers. Now sellers agents are having to put that work in a little bit. You're going to have to make sure that you're marketing it, you're reaching out to your people that in your network, that you are also educating your clients that, hey, we're going to have to do some extra things to help bring some buyers into this and make sure they buy your home. So it's a little work on the seller side now, for sure. Buyer side, we were working hard in the pandemic.
Right. Oh my goodness. We was pulling out, hey, look, we'll groom your dog for you if you want us to. We'll help you pack. Just let me have the house.
Exactly, and so I think that, that part was a scary time,
Yeah.
because things were flying off the market like as soon as it probably came on.
Yeah.
And then of course you had so much competition that you had to kind of, beat out the competition, so now the market is where you have some areas that are still pretty competitive, right? And you have some areas that, it's like, listen, you could get this house for sure, at this price and this and that, you kind of know the market a little bit, the area. So what you think? You think that's about the same? That's
I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with what you're saying. I think that that's fair. It is kind of easing off a little bit more for the buyers, where they do have a little more leverage than what they've had in the past 2 years, where, the seller is able to give credits, concessions, however you want to say that,
Yes.
or incentives. Whether it's a builder or it's a pre-owned home, the sellers know now that it's not, just a ball game for them. The buyers now have, some game, some leverage to hold over the seller. So, and I think that's
fair.
good. I can't say that I liked that seller's market. It was very brutal. It was heartbreak for a lot of people. It was a reality check for a lot of people, where, they might have sold their home and couldn't get into another one. So they had to become renters for a year or so. So a very humbling experience for a lot of people.
Yes, I totally agree with that. It was heartbreaking, because our ultimate goal is to create homeowners, and I think a lot of people that took advantage of that time were a lot of investors, right? You had a lot of companies that were like, hey, you can rent from us, that type of thing. And so it kind of put homeowners at a disadvantage. The ones that, the working class, the ones that are here working every day and their goal is to be homeowners, it made it almost impossible to really, because unless you had like 50 grand just sitting in the account, it was going to be kind of tough for you to, and then you had to put so much money up front. There were so many things. But the blessing in it all was that, interest rates, of course, were super low. So that was really the reason for the whole boom anyway, right? Because rates had dropped and everybody like, oh, yes, this is the time right here. We've been waiting for it. At the same time, it kind of also put us at a situation where a lot of people were in the market, and so it became very competitive. So around the world, around the United States, for sure. It wasn't just Texas. It was everywhere, right?
Yeah. So a lot of other states really got hit hard. I don't think Texas got hit as hard. And some states probably weren't even really affected by the pandemic. And that's surprising. But a lot of states, I think more northern states, weren't really as affected as, Texas and California, New York and New Jersey, all of them. So what I wanted to kind of explain and help people understand, because we're also here to educate, right? Can we explain kind of what, the difference is between a seller's market and a buyer's market for those of us that don't know? What would you say, in your opinion, the difference or the definition of the two are?
Kind of the sellers have the control. You know what I mean? Meaning they are in the driver's seat. There's not much negotiation. You got to kind of do what the seller wants. You want their house, then that's what you're going to have to do.
Right.
Versus kind of like buyer's market is where the buyers are in control.
Yeah.
The buyers have say so. There's so many buyers out here or so many homes out here. There's so much competition for your home. And so you want to get it sold, then you're going to have to step up to the plate and you're going to have to kind of bend over backwards a little bit for the buyer. So that is kind of, that's how I kind of view it. It's really just kind of like the competition.
Yeah. And for me, it's on the same lines of what you're saying, where the seller's market that means that there are a very limited amount of houses that are for sale or available for sale. But there are a plethora of buyers that are wanting that one house. So, you have one house, but you have, I'm just throwing numbers out here. You have 500 buyers that want it. That creates the seller's market. Versus the buyer's market is, okay, this house is sitting on the market a little bit longer and there's a few more houses available, not just that one. And not so many buyers are interested in that house, which now, you have a buyer's market because, that house is sitting longer. There's less interest in that property. And now other properties are becoming available and easier to get in a buyer's market.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So for me, that's some tea to try and, help educate you guys on the difference in what's going on in the market, what a buyer and a seller's market is, in case you didn't know, and just kind of what the market is saying right now, like what we're seeing on our ends as realtors. So the next thing I wanted to touch on is kind of the price, because a lot of people are like, oh, I want to buy, but interest rates are too high. Like as a realtor, and I know you like to be realtor and loan officer in certain cases. So I guess I'll say for me as a realtor, what I'm seeing in, as far as pricing and interest rates, and I try and educate my clients on this, is although the interest rates are in the sixes or, wherever they are when it's time for you to buy, there's options. There are avenues that you can take to help, offset or control that interest rate. Example, the seller can give money to the buyer to help them buy down the interest rate.
Very much so.
To help them be able to afford that house, because that interest rate does affect how much they can buy. Right now, I would say in Tarrant County, for single family homes between like 220 and 320, like a 3 or 4 bedroom, whether it's resale or new construction, up to about 3,000 square feet, you could probably find a house for, on average, about 285, 290 right now, which is not too bad in the Tarrant County area. And with that, if you're able to get a property where the seller's willing to give money towards you purchasing the house, you can use that to buy down your rate. So whatever the rate is today, that doesn't mean that's the rate you have to have. You just, partner with a realtor and a loan officer that, I like to talk about, which is one of my passions for being a realtor, is helping first-time home buyers. So as a realtor, when I hear I'm a first-time home buyer, what do I get as a first-time home buyer? And I just try to educate people that first-time home buyer, it is a thing. Being a first-time home buyer is a thing. You can be a first-time home buyer more than one time. There's, a timeline, so can you, as a loan officer, what do you tell your clients when they come in and say, I'm a first-time home buyer, I want the first-time home buyer program?
One, the media, honey, the media is something else. Okay. It will try to take you out. But so when people come to me and they say I always let them know the distinction of what they're asking for. When they say they're looking for the first time home buyer program, they're looking for down payment assistance.
Yeah.
Okay. That's two separate things. Okay.
Right.
You're a first time home buyer. There's first time home buyers like the conventional. Conventional is a first time home buyer at the 3% down payment. You have to be a first time home buyer to take advantage of a conventional loan at, a 3% down payment. Because usually you want to pay 5% or 20%, whatever, for conventional. So that's the first time home buyer program, are several different types of programs.
Right.
Mainly, like I said, if you're looking for down payment assistance, always know nothing is free.
Right.
So if you're looking for, the government or somebody to cover that down payment, then you must know that the interest rate going to be higher. There's going to be some additional fees that's going to probably be assessed there. And there might be times where you're not going to be able to sell your home if you want to sell it within a certain time frame, because there's restrictions because of that down payment. So I always want to keep that in mind. I tell people you'll get a better loan if you save your money, but I understand some people, I get it. Like it's totally okay. Like it's not a bad thing. It's just that, if you can prepare for it, you want to do that. So yeah.
I agree. And I appreciate you for that, because a lot of people do kind of confuse the two. They'll say first time home buyer program, and that's exactly right. They'll be talking about down payment assistance, grants, and all of that. And I try to stay in my lane and try not to explain that part. I'm like, I leave that to the loan officer, but I do educate them and let them know about different grants and city programs that are going on, like, all of that, and make sure that they understand the difference But as far as explaining what all each person qualifies for, I'll just let them know, hey, it depends on your unique profile, your unique situation, for someone to tell you what it is that you qualify for as a first-time home buyer. There is no, okay, here, this person gets this, because it really strictly is determined by your unique profile and what your credit says, what your buying power says, what area you're buying in, what type of house or, home you're purchasing. All of that plays a big part.
It does.
In the first-time home buyer program.
It does. It very much so. The main thing I can say is make sure you get someone that can educate you. And that's not afraid to tell you like, hey, that might not be the best option. You know what I mean? From what we gather, right, this may not be the best option, but here's an option for you.
Right.
I'll say that because I'm going to give a little bit of my experience when I first bought my house. And that is what actually set the tone for me wanting to help others get their house, because I was young when I bought my first house and I just knew that I wanted to buy a house,
Right.
But nobody really, I didn't know anything. And all I knew is that I had this certain budget. I was like, I only want this,
Right.
And, so the realtor, I think at that time just didn't really understand me, if you will. But took me, and I was like, I don't want to fix up no house. I don't want to do none of that. I want to be able to, just roll on in, because for one, I didn't have extra money lying around to fix up a house. So instead of her educating me and saying, hey, well, and all the houses she was taking to, I was like, this is not it. This is not what I'm looking for. This is not what I want, because, I'm gonna have to do some serious fixing up. It's like basically, shacks. I'm not an investor. This is a home I'm gonna live in,
Right.
And so anyway, so I finally, instead of her educating and saying, well, you're going to need a little bit more in your budget, can you get more, approved? And I had end up finding somebody else that was like, hey, this is what you're looking for right here.
Right. Tell me what I need.
Tell me, because I was a first time home buyer. I didn't know what I didn't know. I'm just scared. I'm really scared because it's a huge commitment and I don't want to get in over my head, And so I think that knowing those things, and I always go back to my experience, because I'm a person, I'm a customer, I'm a client, I'm a consumer. What was it that I needed? You know what I mean? And so, Shonda, I know you do the same thing. Like, what is it that I need? So that way you'll know how to be able to help your clients, Some clients, they feel like they already have it all figured out.
Right.
Sometimes that's the hard part. Ones that are not coachable or trainable or whatever.
Right. And I do. I have a very unique process when I first meet somebody to try and determine what it is that they're looking for. What is it they need? I ask very specific questions because I am truly here to help. It's not just about the money when it comes to helping people find a house. Right. Yes, that's how I make my money. Yes, that this is my business. But at the end of the day, I want to make sure that you're happy with what the decision that you're making. So, I'm very strategic when I begin talking to people about, purchasing a home. Speaking of, when educating them, let's talk about tax season. Like, we're in tax season now.
Tax season, baby.
Let's make very informed, educated, wise decisions with our tax money. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a realtor. I'm saying that as, a human, as somebody that is wanting generational wealth, wanting passive income, wanting to be that homeowner. I want to see everybody win. I don't care who you are. Don't just take your tax money and just go blow it on something that's not going to create value, in the long run, or that you're not going to see in the next 6 months. It's a big chunk of money. Yeah, it's your money, but be smart about it. If you're on the cusp or you're in a position where you can be a homeowner and all you're needing is that, that extra money for down payment or closing costs, talk with your CPA, talk with your tax professional, and, figure out a plan, what it is that you need, what you should do to maximize on that tax benefit. What's your take on that?
Yeah, be intentional about your tax money, because here's the thing, like when you get that money, you can be paying down debt. Mm-hmm. You can pay off debt. Mm-hmm. So that way, because again, when you're buying a house, there's more than just your credit score you got to look out for. You got to look out for all the debts that you have compared to what your income is. And so I think that, if your goal in 2023 is to become a homeowner, I think that you need to be intentional with the money that you get, all money that you get from your
money.
income, from your tax refund, from any extra money that you get. This is where the intention come in place, because you have a goal that you're trying to reach.
Right.
And when you have a goal, it's important for you to be able to, one, make those many steps, the milestones. I'm not gonna lie. Like when I bought my house, I wasn't ready the first time around. I had to talk to a loan officer and they had to tell me like what steps I needed to take. But you best believe I was blowing them up every chance I get, and this is crazy how right now I was talking to somebody else and I was like, nowadays you have to call clients and remind them their goal. But you didn't have to remind me of my goal because I knew I was to be a homeowner. You know what I mean? And
you were intentional.
I was intentional. Like anything, I was checking my credit on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I was reaching out. I was like, hey, this is where I'm at. I've done these 3 things, checking in, let you know. And then at that point, he can say, well, let me check and see where you stand. And it was like, oh, well, you ready to buy? Oh,
right.
Okay. And so it's intentional. It's all about being intentional with your money and making sure that you're progressing. People didn't, I know we wasn't taught these things. I get that. But it's important that now that you know that you do something with the information. Right. But I also understand if you're in a hardship, maybe buying a house right now is not the right time. It's okay. It's okay. We've all been in hardships, and hardships are where you have to wait for a little bit until you get things ready. But if you're not in a hardship and you're working consistently and things are, flowing, make sure you're not being irresponsible with your money.
Right.
Be responsible, be intentional, so that way you can have and your kids can have, generational wealth along the way. I wish somebody could have just left me a house and I could live in the house. You know what I mean? And then that house we can fix up, or we can rent out, or we can, pass it down a generation. Like, it's so important that we start thinking about that now. And what way to think about that during tax season? Okay.
Tax season, getting that big old lump sum of money. And you may not be that person. Right. Yeah. You may not be that person that has a credit issue or an income issue. You may be, like Nikita said, that person that just has the debt, like you pay your bills on time. But if you paid this one account or these 2 accounts down, that $350,000 house, $450,000 house that you want is achievable because you've lowered your debt. Though you have the money, you can afford to pay it. But on paper, what these investors and banks are seeing is that, hey, their debt is too high. But if you took that tax money and just paid that debt down, 5-10%, that can make a huge difference in your buying power, where now you probably can only afford $250,000 because of your debts, not because of your income or your credit, but because of the amount of debt that you have. But then you go and you put $5,000-$10,000 toward that debt, that can create a whole different scenario for you. So that's the kind of things I'm talking about.
Come on. That's what we're doing right now. We're talking about ways to buy this house. Okay. You got goals to buy houses. Let's go. If you're a realtor or if you are in the industry, like, it's important for you to educate your clients. And it should never always be about the money. You know what I mean? Like, no way in this industry, because for one, it's all a facade anyway. You know what I mean? We don't, I know they think realtors out here just balling. You got some of them that are, but you got a lot of ones that are not, so. Right. And so it's important for everybody to understand, like, we're in this together. We're on the same team here.
Yeah.
You can't go buy a house without us. You know what I mean? And it's important. This is I know that's kind of off topic a little bit.
Let's go off topic.
Listen, it's important for us to make sure that we're talking about using a realtor. It's important to use a realtor. You need a realtor. Stop thinking that y'all don't need realtors, because we are the ones that are on your team and on your side. We're going to fight for you. We're going to educate you. We're going to help you along the way. But if you don't trust us, we can't help you. You get what I'm saying? So even when you're going for new builds, even if you're going, whatever you're going, you need a realtor to represent you. It's just like you trying to go and represent yourself in court. If you go and you do some criminal activity and you want to get represented, you want to represent yourself. Who's gonna take you serious?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? They're going right all over you. You don't know nothing about the law.
I like that analogy. Let us represent you.
Stop trying to take people's jobs away. You know what I mean? Basically, everybody
we pretty much study the law. We study the language, we study the law, we study the market, so we know what to do when we see this, or we know what to say when we hear that. And people think, oh, I don't need a realtor, or for some reason they have this negative connotation behind realtors, even as buyers. But it's like, what's the harm in using a realtor, whether you're looking for a pre-owned home or a new construction home? It doesn't cost you anything. It does not cost you a dime
out of your pocket
to use a realtor. The seller pays the realtor for, helping bring buyers to their house. And I can't stress that enough, that, that point enough, because a lot of people don't know, or they just don't care. And if you don't, I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't want to use a realtor, you got it, whatever. But think about
your choice. Yeah,
it's your choice. Think about you're signing a legal binding contract. You need to know what it is that you're signing. You need to know, what your rights are. If you don't know the legal terms and the contract, fine print, then you could be setting yourself up for failure. You think you're getting this, $4,000 square foot house. Can't talk today. And it's a deal because it's so grand and so beautiful, and all the paint is just so amazing. But as a professional, we know what to look for in the house to say, okay, they're covering something up. Or, okay, when I walk right here, it kind of slopes a little bit, but it's so grand and beautiful. And it's, in this area where all the upper echelon people are, and I'm getting it for this like you don't know it all. So use a realtor, leverage us as buyers. And then as sellers, it does cost you, but that price is, it's negotiable. And the realtor can either say, yes, okay, I agree, or no, I don't, and let somebody else take it. But at the end of the day, again, there's contracts involved. There's legal terms, there's legal jargon in those contracts that you as the seller have to perform on. Otherwise, you can get sued. You can get sued as a buyer or a seller. And you don't want to put yourself in that situation. So, I know we kind of got a little off topic, and we're getting kind of in the weeds in it, but that's a very important topic. And I'm glad you brought it up about utilizing a realtor, whether as a buyer or a seller. It's very essential, in my opinion.
I totally agree, for sure. It's important. So you know what? Now we're going to let's talk about our peers for a second.
Okay, let's go there.
We're gonna get into that.
Are we going there?
We're going there. It's time.
Let's go.
It's time. Y'all, stop. It's enough business out here for everybody. There is no reason why we cannot collaborate. There's no reason why we cannot help each other along our journey. I find so many people, if you're looking to become a realtor or anything in this industry, just know that it's kind of a lonely ride. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you do have to plug in. You have to plug in. You do have to network. I say get out there and talk to people. It's important to do that. But a lot of times I find that, other realtors don't like to help other realtors. Like they just feel like it's a competition, Yeah. And so like, why would I help you so you can take some of this business? So you really can handle the whole DFW. Like the whole
DFW. You gatekeeping this one little small thing when all you cover is this one little community. It's a whole slew of other communities that need servicing. But because you don't want to share this information, you just letting everybody else just live out here on the struggle.
But listen, what God has for you is for you no matter what.
Nobody take it.
So whatever client, my prayer is that God send me the right clients aligned with me, because I can't, people, we, like you said, when you have your buyer's consultation, you are at that point trying to see if we are even a good fit.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because I don't need nobody to drive me crazy at the end of the day. I have a home. I am a person. I'm a human being. And so I think it's important for us to understand that part. Like, support, y'all. It's okay to support each other. It's okay to lift each other up. It's okay to give some people some pointers and some ideas that can help their business grow. Without you saying, come to my brokerage, or you know, it needs to be genuine, authentic. You know what I mean?
And not just real estate either. I mean, it's just business in general. A lot of small business competition goes on. I mean, But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that somebody else is doing t-shirts or somebody else is doing treats or somebody else is catering. So what? Look at what they're doing, figure out, maybe where the gap is or where you fit better. Just because they're doing it doesn't mean that you can't do it. Look how many bread companies are out there. And people still making bread companies. So all these dang bread companies, and they all eating good.
There's
so
a whole
it
row
doesn't
of
matter.
them.
Right. You're not supposed to reinvent the wheel just because you're starting a business. It's you fit for the people that are meant to be fit to you. And you are going to speak to that community. Everybody doesn't speak the same language. So do it and do it scared is what we said, right? Go out there, do it. It doesn't matter that your next door neighbor is doing the same thing. It doesn't matter. The person across the street might not even like her, but so she might come to you. So don't let that stop you.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I love it.
So I agree. It's enough out here to go around.
It's enough. One thing I will say for us entrepreneurs or anybody out there, really, keep going. Whatever you do, don't stop. Keep going. Don't stop before the magic happens. I know it gets hard. I get it. But right when you stop is when the breakthrough could have happened.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right,
so I tell myself that all the time because the business gets so hard. And this is real authentic stuff right here.
Yeah.
The business get really hard sometimes. And you feel like you by yourself sometimes. But in those moments is what supposed to grow you. And so you don't want to give up right when you're at that moment of growing into your next level. And so I will always encourage you, to make sure you don't stop. Keep going. I'm not saying that you can't have a moment, right? But whatever you do, don't stop and give up because that's when you've lost it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you keep going, you'd be like, dang, next week you'd have been to hit the jackpot. Didn't even know it, but you was going to stop last week.
That's
but
right.
then if you stopped last week, you ain't gonna even know that you was gonna hit the jackpot because you stopped right before the blessing came. So
I'm guilty. I'll be like, this is not working. I done did this twice already, and this is not working. Let me find something else. And then that don't work. Like it's like the instant gratification is what we all kind of look for. That instant, like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I know no, it's gonna take some time. You gotta finesse it, you gotta build it, you gotta grow it. And if it's not on a solid foundation, it doesn't matter how, powerful or how important you become, it will crumble. So make sure you build that solid foundation.
That is so true. Making some good notes. Okay. So I think, honestly, I hope that in this episode that you guys took away, whether if it was encouraging you along your journey, whether you understood a little bit about the home buying process, as far as not the process itself, but the market and, reasons that are important for you to use professionals in this environment is important.
Yeah, that's true. I think it was good. We gave them some good stuff to process until the next episode. So
it's true.
I'm satisfied.
And we're so excited to be on this journey. We decided to do, and I think we said it in our intro video. Listen, just do it. It's not going to be a perfect time to do these things. You're not going to feel like it's not going to always feel like you want to do it. It's going to be different, so just do it. Do it when you can. Do it when you're afraid. Just do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Everything don't have to be right in place.
Right.
Just do it.
Right.
That's it. Just do it. And who shows up, and who don't. It's okay.
Whoever's meant to be there is going to be there. So remember to empower each other.
Embrace your true self.
And evolve on your journey.
That's it.
See y'all.
Thank y'all so much for joining us. Have a wonderful day.